in the heart of an ancient forest, where thunder speaks and the earth remembers every tear. A silent cry rises through the rain. A mother's roar shakes the heavens. A ranger's heart races against time, and between them, one fragile life fighting to breathe. When nature tests the boundaries between fear and faith, only trust can bridge the distance. The morning mist hung low over the banyan forest, veiling the world in silence before the rain. Arav Patel, a young ranger with eyes that carried both hope and regret, stood on the wooden watchtower. Through his binoculars, he spotted familiar tracks, the herd of Kavya, the wise elephant matriarch, and her playful calf, Nuru. They were moving north, toward the abandoned quarry. "Not again," he whispered. Behind him, Meera Desai, the seasoned veterinarian, stepped in, raincoat already glistening with drizzle. "You're thinking about the old pit again, aren't you?" Arav gave a faint nod. "If the rain fills it, any animal trapped down there won't last an hour." Thunder rumbled across the sky, rolling like a warning from the gods. Arav grabbed his radio. "Control, this is Patel. I've got movement near the marsh. 3 adults, 1 calf. I'm going in." Meera frowned. "Alone? Storm's closing in. We can't wait." They hurried down the trail. The forest was alive with tension, branches trembling under wind, air thick with the scent of wet soil and danger. As they reached the marsh ridge, Arav froze. Through the rain, he saw them, Kavya and her herd, trudging through the fog. Little Nuru splashed playfully, his trunk flinging water like joy itself. But joy is fragile in the wild. The thunder cracked, closer this time, startling the herd. Kavya roared, trying to steady her calf. Too late, the ground gave way. A deep sucking sound tore through the rain, and Nuru vanished into the mud pit below. Arav's blood ran cold. "No! The quarry!" Kavya bellowed, her cries echoing through the forest, a sound of pure despair. She clawed the edges, desperate, helpless. The mud swallowed deeper. Without hesitation, Arav dropped to his knees, pulling out his rescue rope. Meera shouted, "Arav, it's too dangerous." He looked up at the massive elephant towering beside him. Her amber eyes met his, raw pain and desperate hope mingling in the stormlight. It wasn't rage he saw, it was trust. "I've got you," he murmured. He tied the rope around his waist and stepped toward the trembling edge. The mud shifted, the rain poured harder, and with one deep breath, Arav took the first step into the storm. The rain fell like shattered glass. Thunder rolled across the banyan forest, drowning every sound except one, the desperate cries of a baby elephant trapped below. Arav edged toward the rim of the pit, the rope tight around his waist. Below, Nuru struggled to keep his head above the swirling brown water, his small trunk reaching toward the light. "Hold on, little one," Arav murmured. Beside him, Kavya, the mother elephant, let out a deep, heart-wrenching roar. Her trunk reached toward her calf, trembling, unable to reach. The mud beneath her massive feet cracked dangerously. "Stay back," Arav shouted, voice barely audible through the storm. Behind him, Meera fought the wind, securing the rope around a banyan root. "You're too close. The edge won't hold." Arav didn't move. "I can't just watch him drown." He crouched low, boots sinking in the mud, rain streaming down his face. The sound of thunder faded. All he could hear was the labored breathing of the small creature below. Lightning flashed, and in that split second their eyes met. Man and animal, both terrified, both desperate. "I'll get you out," Arav whispered. He took another step forward, the rope pulling tight. The mud slid beneath him, but he didn't stop. Below, Nuru's trunk reached upward again, trembling. Arav stretched out his hand, fingertips brushing the calf's slick skin. "Got you," he breathed. Kavya let out a soft, broken sound, part cry, part prayer. "A little closer," Meera yelled. Arav shifted his weight, heart pounding, and managed to grab hold of the calf's ear. The rope groaned, the pit shook, but for the first time, hope flickered through the storm. "I've got him," Arav cried out. "Don't let go of that rope." Mira's voice cracked through the thunder. "I'm with you." Kavya stood still now, her huge eyes locked on Arav, rain glistening down her face like tears. In that moment, fear turned into fragile trust. The jungle fell silent for a heartbeat. Only the sound of breathing, man, mother, and child, filled the storm. And then Arav whispered, "Hang on, little one. I'm coming down." He took one final breath and lowered himself into the darkness, vanishing into the pit as lightning tore open the sky. The rain had finally stopped. The jungle breathed again. Mist hung over the trees like silk, soft and glowing under the newborn sunlight. The air smelled of wet earth and life. The storm had left behind silence, not the silence of fear, but of awe. Arav stood quietly beside Mira at the edge of the pit that had nearly become a grave. His uniform clung to him, heavy with mud and water, but his heart felt weightless. Below them, the ground was still slick, but safe now. The baby elephant, Nuru, stood beside his mother, trembling slightly, his tiny body steaming in the cool air. Kavya, the mother elephant, leaned down and wrapped her trunk around him, pressing him gently to her chest. That touch, firm, slow, and trembling, said more than words ever could. Arav took a small step forward. For a moment, the mother elephant's eyes met his. There was no fear there now, only recognition. A fragile bridge of trust, built in the middle of chaos. Mira exhaled softly. "They made it," she whispered. "They made it," Arav echoed, his voice thick, almost a prayer. They stood there in silence as the first warm light broke through the banyan branches. Steam rose from the wet ground, glowing like ghosts of the storm that had passed. Birds began to sing again, hesitant at first, then louder, filling the air with new life. In the distance, a rainbow began to form, faint, pale, but real. Kavya nudged her calf gently forward. Together they took a slow step toward the open forest, away from the pit that had nearly taken one of them. Arav watched them go, mud still clinging to his boots, a tired smile softening his face. Mira wiped the rain from her cheeks. Or maybe it wasn't rain anymore. The jungle had given back what it had almost claimed. By noon, the sky was clear. Only the damp scent of rain and the echo of thunder remained, like memories fading into peace. Arav sat beneath the great banyan tree, the same one whose roots had anchored the rope that saved Nuru's life. Mira sat beside him, sketching quietly in her weather-worn notebook. "Do you think they'll remember us?" she asked softly. Arav looked out toward the horizon, where the elephants had disappeared into the mist. "Maybe," he said, "but I think what matters more is that we'll never forget them." They sat in silence. The jungle around them pulsed with life again, water dripping from leaves, wind whispering through branches, sunlight shimmering off every surface. It wasn't just a rescue anymore. It was a reminder that even in the wildest corners of the earth, compassion is the thread that binds every living soul. Arav closed his eyes and listened to the rhythm of the earth, to the soft calls of distant elephants, to the whisper beneath the banyan tree. And for the first time in a long time, everything felt whole. Soft light filtered through the leaves. A rainbow lingered faintly over the clearing. And as the forest settled into peace, the story became more than memory. It became a promise that courage and kindness will always echo, even after the storm. Thank you for watching. Subscribe, like, share to help kindness bloom. More real rescue stories on AnimalBloom, because every life deserves a second chance.
ご覧いただきありがとうございます。